When it comes to punch for your pound, the Suzuki Swift Sport has always been a firm favourite here at Carbuyer. So does this new 2018 version, which is lighter and has the addition of a turbocharger, have what it takes to keep us happy. Looks-wise, this is still a good-looking, sporty little car with its honeycomb grille, carbon fibre effect side skirts and sports badge, along with new 17-inch alloy wheels, uprated brakes and 2 exhaust pipes. But don't get too excited about those because it doesn't sound that great. Now, it's only available as a 4-door this time around, and Suzuki have tried to hide the rear door handles, although not massively successfully. But hey, it all works together to set the Sport aside from the more common or garden Swifts. So let's take a look at what sets it apart inside. Now, as any hot hatch fan would expect, there are plenty of touches in here to remind you that this is the sporty version. Take the Sport logos on the figure-hugging seats, or the red stitching that you can see everywhere, these glossy red panels, alloy pedals down there, and the leather steering wheel with its lovely flat bottom that is adjustable for both height and also reach. However, there are a couple of things that really let the interior down. The first is the seats. Now, they're absolutely fine for me, but I'm quite small and I'm not sure their figure-hugging nature is going to suit everyone. And look, whilst the interior is nicely put together and it actually feels pretty well built, the quality of some of the plastics is a real letdown. I mean, they're just so scratchy and they feel really cheap. And this is not a cheap car. It is quite a hike, although you do get plenty of kit for your money. Everything from LED headlights to sat-nav, the ability to display smartphone apps on the central display, along with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And there's a raft of driver assistance tech like adaptive cruise control, lane departure warnings and rear parking camera. Now, one of the reasons for that hike in price is the engine. And whilst on paper the output has only increased by 4 horsepower to 138, that turbocharger in the new 1.4 litre booster jet engine means that you get over 40% more torque, which, and I think this is a very, very good thing, arrives far earlier in the rev range. I mean, it really does feel like you've got a much more powerful engine under there. Those figures put the Swift Sport in the mid-ground between the cheaper and less powerful Up GTI with 113 horsepower and much more powerful hot hatches like the Peugeot 208 GTI. In fact, it even finds itself in competition with the Ford Fiesta ST line, whose 1 litre EcoBoost engine is offered with either 123 or 138 brake horsepower. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that the engine is one of the Swift Sport's best features. Its 0 to 60 time of 8.1 seconds just doesn't really do it justice because it comes out of corners with a real spring in its step. It really does feel at its best in 3rd gear, which may not do it many favours when you're going in a straight line, but it does make it a joy to drive on some twisty country roads. Now, I'm guessing there will be some complaints that this feels a more grown-up car than the outgoing model. Batch, for example, I know is firmly in that camp. But I think when you add in the slick, precise 6-speed manual gearbox, along with this really nicely weighted steering, you get a car that is still a lot of fun to drive. And you know, Batch, really, being a bit more grown up doesn't mean that you can't have fun. Now, the Swift Sport also has the larger front brakes, and they can make the brake pedal feel a little grabby at first. But you do learn to appreciate their ability to slow the Swift Sport down in a hurry. And you can keep an eye on exactly how quick you're braking through the driving computer that monitors braking, acceleration, torque and power, and also tells you how much boost the turbo is producing. Now, the more boost that you're after, the bigger the impact it has on the fuel economy. And whilst I'm aware that in the world of the hot hatch, running costs come second to driving fun, the Sport actually has quite a lot going for it in this department. It sheds some weight, and that, of course, is a major advantage when it comes to fuel efficiency, which means that this new version is more efficient than the old 1.6 litre in its predecessor. It gives an official figure of 47.1 miles to the gallon. A quick look down there will tell you that I've been averaging 43.3 miles to the gallon, which really isn't bad at all. As for the rest of the car, well, it's basically in line with the standard Swift, with surprisingly comfortable and spacious back seats with good headroom. Although the boot is compact, smaller than the Fiestas, and it does have an awkward load lip. Overall, this is still a good-looking, really fun hot hatch. But the big thing about this car was always its price, and we're not convinced that it makes a good enough case to justify that considerable rise. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel by pressing the Carbuyer logo, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram.